Buongiorno studenti! Today we're talking about the word solito in Italian. Now, this is one of those words, super useful words, that can change their meaning completely depending on how you use them. So, whether you add di, al, or il before solito, you will get three totally different expressions. By the end of this video, you will master all the ways to use solito in Italian and sound more natural in our language. Okay, if you want to master Italian expressions with clear, simple explanations like this one, make sure to subscribe to my channel and enable notifications. I post new lessons every week to help you speak Italian naturally and confidently. And at the end of this video, don't forget to let me know which one is your favorite expression with solito. Ok, iniziamo. Now, let's start by breaking down each expression. Let's start with the first one, which is di solito. I'm typing the preposition in all capitals just for you to focus the difference between all of them. In real Italian, of course, you would type these normally like this. Va bene? So, di solito. In this case, we put di before solito. This is used to talk about habits and things that happen regularly. So, di solito is very similar to saying usually or generally in English. That's the meaning of di solito. Let me give you some examples. If you want to say, I usually wake up at 6 a.m., then you can use di solito to translate usually. Va bene? So, how would you say, I usually wake up at 6 a.m.? Di solito mi sveglio alle 6. Perfetto. Un altro esempio. Let's suppose we want to say he usually takes the bus to work. How would you say that? Di solito, so usually, prende l'autobus per andare al lavoro. Sì? Di solito means usually. Let me give you one more example. Let's suppose you want to ask someone, what do you usually eat for breakfast? Can you use di solito for that? Sorry. Naturalmente. So, how would you ask, what do you usually eat for breakfast? Cosa mangi di solito per colazione? Perfetto. So remember, di solito means usually. Now let's move to meaning number 2, which is, so meaning number 2 for solito when you couple that with al. So you probably have noticed this sometimes. Al solito. When we change that first word from di to al, we change the meaning. Al solito describes something that's happening in the expected or typical way. And sometimes this has a hint of resignation or a slight criticism. So, al solito means essentially as usual in English. Let me give you some examples. Let's suppose you want to say, as usual, Marco is late. See, there's also a hint of criticism. We would use al solito to give that idea. So, al solito Marco è in ritardo. Ok. Un altro esempio, another example. Let's suppose we want to say, like always, she forgot the keys. How would you say that? Al solito ha dimenticato le chiavi. Al solito ha dimenticato le chiavi. Un altro esempio. If we want to say we're going to sit there as usual, we can still use al solito. So, how would we say we're going to sit there as usual? Ci sediamo lì, we're going to sit there. Come al solito, as per usual. Va bene? Perfetto. Now, remember that if you want to easily review these expressions and all the examples I'm giving you, you can download the PDF that I prepared for you for this lesson, and you can find the link in the description below this video. Okay, let's move on to meaning number 3. So, significato numero 3 for solito. In this case, solito is coupled with il, so with the definite article, like in il solito. In this instance, solito means the usual, so il solito means the usual. And this is used when we are referring to a specific thing that someone always chooses or always does. It's often used when ordering food or drinks, so you may have heard this in real life when you're at a restaurant or at a bar. I'm going to show you. So let's say, for example, that we want to say, I will have the usual coffee. In Italian, we would say, prendo il solito caffè. I'll take the usual coffee. So see, il solito is referring to coffee, il solito caffè. Also, something you may have heard if you're a regular customer of a bar, of a restaurant in Italian, the waiter could recognize you and ask you the usual, so il solito, like in, do you take the usual thing? That would just be il solito. So you enter, imagine this situation, you enter the bar, you go there every single day, you always order the same espresso e cornetto, or cappuccino and cornetto. So the waiter knows you very well, and when you get in and they see you, they ask you, il solito? Sì, il solito, grazie. There you have it. That's the meaning of il solito. Let me give you a couple more examples because I want to show you something interesting. In the previous expressions, that we see, so di solito and al solito, solito never changes because those are phrases. Di solito and al solito are standard phrases that never change. Il solito is different. Il solito refers to a noun, like in this instance, il solito caffè. Therefore, solito will change to match the gender of the noun and the number of the noun it's going with. So let me show you 2 examples to explain better what I mean. Let's suppose to want to say, she ordered her usual pizza. Usual is referring to pizza, so solito is referring to pizza in this instance. Therefore, it's an adjective. Therefore, you will need to change solito to match pizza. Pizza is feminine singular, so we will use solita as a form of usual, and we will also need to change the article. So let me show you. Ha ordinato la solita pizza. See? La solita pizza. When you use solito with the meaning of usual, that's an adjective. Therefore, you will need to change the ending of the adjective and also the article that goes with. So, ha ordinato la solita pizza. Let me show one more. Let's suppose you want to say nothing new, the usual things. That's a very common phrase in Italy. We use that all the time. The usual things, the usual life. That would be, let's take a little bit more space here. How do you say thing in Italian? That's cosa. How do you make it plural? That's cose. So we will need to use a feminine plural form of solito, which will be solite. So niente di nuovo, le solite cose. And this is a phrase we use all the time. Niente di nuovo, le solite cose. Va bene? Perfetto. So remember, when solito is used as usual, that's an adjective, and therefore it changes depending the noun it refers to. Now, if you want a refresher on adjectives and why they change, I have a dedicated guide in one of my videos, so I will leave that in. I will leave the link to that video in the description below. So there you have it. 3 very similar expressions with 3 different meanings and usages. Di solito for habits, al solito for expected situations, and il solito for specific usual things. So now it's your turn. Leave me a comment below using one of these expressions, the one you like the most, in a sentence. And if you haven't done that already, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more Italian lessons like this one. Ci vediamo al prossimo video. See you in the next video. Ciao!